Have you ever wondered about the complexities of the Israel-Palestine conflict and how recent events have shaped the current state of affairs? Today, we're taking a deep dive into this intricate and evolving situation. Let's start by going back to the beginning. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is a long-standing one, deeply rooted in issues around territory, religion, and identity. Over the years, it has seen waves of escalation and de-escalation, but the past few months have brought a new level of tension. A key player in this unfolding drama is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Known for his assertive stance, Netanyahu recently announced a date for an Israeli invasion of Rafah, a city on the border with Israel. He didn't disclose the exact date, but this move is significant. Rafah is seen as Hamas's last major stronghold in Gaza, and an estimated 1.5 million Palestinians have sought refuge there, fleeing Israeli bombardments. This announcement comes after Israel pulled all of its ground troops out of southern Gaza for what it calls tactical reasons. This has raised many questions about the direction of the war, especially as Hamas and Israeli delegations attended ceasefire talks in Egypt. While 2 brigades remain in the northern half of the Gaza Strip and the new corridor that now bifurcates the Palestinian territory at Wadi Gaza, the Israel Defense Forces have said this drawdown is primarily to relieve reservists after nearly 4 months of intense fighting in Khan Yunis. But is it a significant shift in strategy, or just a temporary reprieve? As we delve deeper, it's important to keep in mind the human toll this conflict has taken on both sides. The stories of everyday people caught in the crossfire are a sobering reminder of the reality on the ground. From the Israeli hostages held by Hamas to the over 25,000 Palestinians who have lost their lives, the impact is staggering and far-reaching. So as we continue to explore this conflict, remember that behind every headline and every strategic move, there are individuals whose lives have been irrevocably changed by these events. It's a complex, multifaceted issue, and one that deserves our thoughtful attention and understanding. But what about the Rafah invasion? What led up to this pivotal event? To understand the Rafah invasion, we must first look at the strategic importance of Rafah. This city, situated on the border with Israel, is considered Hamas's last major stronghold in Gaza. When Israeli bombings escalated in the territory, an estimated 1.5 million Palestinians, more than half of Gaza's population, sought refuge in Rafah. This influx of refugees turned the city into a place of desperate hope and stark reality. In the midst of this, Israel's military strategy came under scrutiny. Unexpectedly, Israel withdrew all of its ground troops from southern Gaza. The official reason given was tactical, but it raised eyebrows and questions about the direction of the ongoing war. However, 2 brigades remained stationed in the northern half of the Gaza Strip and the new corridor that now bifurcates the Palestinian territory at Wadi Gaza. This move is believed to be a respite for the reservists after nearly 4 months of intense fighting in Khan Yunis, rather than any significant shift in strategy. While the troops were regrouping, both Hamas and Israeli delegations attended ceasefire talks in Egypt, further adding to the complexity of the situation. Then came the announcement that would alter the course of the conflict. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that a date had been set for an Israeli invasion of Rafah. However, he did not disclose this date, leaving the world in suspense. Officials reiterated Rafah's significance as Hamas's last major stronghold in Gaza, making it a crucial target for the Israeli military. The Rafah invasion marked a significant turning point in the conflict, but what does it mean for the future? In the wake of the invasion, what are the implications for Israel, Palestine, and the wider region? As the dust settles and the echoes of confrontation fade, we find ourselves contemplating the aftermath of the Rafah invasion. With Israel withdrawing ground troops from southern Gaza for what they term as tactical reasons, the course of the conflict appears to be shifting, yet the ultimate destination remains uncertain. The ceasefire talks in Egypt reveal a glimmer of hope, a chance for diplomacy to mend the wounds inflicted by war. However, the road to peace isn't straightforward. The presence of 2 Israeli brigades in the northern half of the Gaza Strip and the new corridor at Wadi Gaza suggests that while the intensity of the conflict may have lessened, its roots are far from being eradicated. The impact on the Palestinian population has been colossal. Over 1.5 million Palestinians, more than half of Gaza's population, sought refuge in Rafah, fleeing the terrifying onslaught of Israeli bombardments. The city, now branded as Hamas's last major stronghold, faces an uncertain future. its destiny tied to the whims of the ongoing conflict. On the geopolitical front, the Rafah invasion sends ripples that extend far beyond the immediate vicinity. The U.S., long considered an ally of Israel, finds itself in a complex situation. Despite President Joe Biden's private frustrations with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the U.S. Senate has approved $14 billion in military aid for Israel, among other countries. However, this bill faces challenges in the House of Representatives, indicating a potential shift in the American stance on the conflict. In the broader Middle East, the invasion further complicates an already tangled web of alliances, rivalries, and power struggles. As nations watch and weigh their responses, the aftershocks of the invasion could potentially reshape the region's geopolitical landscape. The reverberations of the Rafah invasion are felt far beyond the borders of Israel and Palestine. The Israel-Palestine conflict is not just a series of events, but a complex narrative of human struggle and political maneuvering. Indeed, the recent events highlight the severe complexities of this ongoing conflict. The decision by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to set a date for an invasion of Rafah, the last major stronghold of Hamas, underscores the high stakes at play. It's a move that has sent shockwaves through a region already fraught with tension and uncertainty. On one hand, we see a nation determined to protect its citizens and interests, pulling out all stops, even as it faces international scrutiny. On the other hand, we witness a population, more than half of Gaza's, seeking refuge in Rafah, caught in the crossfire of a conflict larger than themselves. The ceasefire talks in Egypt are a glimmer of hope, yet the path to peace is riddled with obstacles. The pullout of Israeli ground troops from southern Gaza for tactical reasons, the intense fighting in Khan Yunis, and the quest for the release of hostages all add layers to an already intricate situation. This conflict, steeped in history and fraught with deeply entrenched political and social issues, calls for more than just political maneuvering. It demands understanding, empathy, and a commitment to resolving differences through dialogue and mutual respect. As we continue to follow the situation, we are reminded of the importance of understanding, empathy, and the pursuit of a peaceful resolution.